All right, here we go. Round two. What do we call ourselves? Well, I guess let's get right into it.
And we're back.
Praise God. There's some things I wanted to bring up today, and it has to do with all of these child trafficking allegations that have been coming up recently. There's a e-commerce company we were talking about earlier called Wayfair. It's been trending on Twitter. I think it was like number 8 on Twitter last week. And the allegations are that this is a company that is being used by child traffickers basically to sell kids. And the way that they're supposedly doing this is they'll be selling something, right? It doesn't matter what the thing is. Cabinets and pillows. And what they'll do is they'll put the name of the child on the title of the product, and the product will be, way overpriced. So for a cabinet or a pillow that would cost, $30 to maybe a couple $100, they have it on there with the kid's name that went missing last year for like $1,200, $50,000. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this could be a serious thing? Another reason why I think this is real is because Epstein is somehow tied into this company. Somehow was a benefit because he's dead now, right? Epstein and his girlfriend and all these celebrities, and they're finding out that a lot of these celebrities, Ellen DeGeneres and Tom Hanks, these people are all getting called out. They're getting exposed, and people are freaking out because they're finding out that the Hollywood world, this elite world as we know it, are full of a bunch of sick pedophiles. And the reason I want to bring this up is because even before I got saved, I used to look into different conspiracy theories and stuff, and I was unsure about it all, but it seemed pretty probable that all this really dark, disgusting thing is going on at these very high elite levels. It seems very probable because that's how it's always been. If you look at human history, you look at the Roman Empire, and they might have had some leaders that weren't doing really raunchy stuff, but for the most part, these societies, these mega power societies, at the top, they were always doing really raunchy stuff. I mean, the leaders they were always having child servants, child sex servants, and you find that all through human history. So what would make this time different? Is it because we've had enough time to to grow out of that?
No, not this flesh. Can't outgrow this flesh.
No, it's the same. There's still the devil, right? There's still a sinful world, and the reason why I want to bring this up and drive home the point that we live in a sick world is because we do live in a cursed world. That's one thing that I want to bring up is the curse, right? Is that this world is actually cursed.
That's true.
And people need to really open their mind to that truth, because there's a reason why.
It'll help make the world make sense. But keep going.
I mean, that's really once I realized that we live in a cursed world, and that it is actually God who cursed it.
That's right.
Because of sin, right? But God also gives us the remedy for that curse.
That's right.
Right? But you have to realize that it is cursed, right? The ground is cursed, right?
Even the soil.
The soil, I mean, and you could see that too. They're saying that there's no minerals left to grow the crops now, and that's why there's a huge food shortage. Just things aren't degenerating. Nothing's getting, we're not getting better. We're getting worse and worse.
Contrary to popular belief.
Right.
Part of it.
Yeah, and we need to watch out for this group that is saying they have the answer to all of the world's problems, right? And the answer, if the answer is not in line with the Bible, then we really need to be especially talking to Christians, right? If you're not a Christian, I'm just telling you to open your mind to these things, to the fact that, this whole world is under the curse of sin. And that's why you see child trafficking, in these high elite status groups.
I just want to chime in that there is kind of legit proof. This is the news station in Seattle called Cairo, K-I-R-O, K-I-R-O-7, and they have a report right here where it says man arrested at Bill Gates' estate for reportedly trading child. I don't know if they can see.
Yeah, I saw that.
But so Bill Gates
is connected somehow.
This came out on, or it was last updated December 31st. What a day. 2014. Yeah, and it's just like a reminder to say, hey, they really are. I mean, look at him smiling. How can you be Bill Gates and have a guy at your house trafficking that?
Yeah.
Child pornography, which is, if you want to abbreviate it, or it's CP, like cheese pizza, and that's what Pizzagate's all about. Yeah.
We advise everyone to check out Pizzagate as well. It's not just conspiracy theory.
No, it's
like they want you to think. Look into it for yourself. Do the research for yourself, because if not, you're doing yourself a disservice. You don't check your brain out at the door when someone just tries to make you feel comfortable about these things. And it's not just on these high level, not only in these elite groups too, is one thing I want to bring up. Even in our community, right, in the South Bay, I think it was in the 80s, in 1980, there was, let me pull that up real quick. There was a preschool or a daycare here. We're in Manhattan Beach right now. Here in Manhattan Beach, and it was called. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I got cookies popping up. McMartin Preschool, right? And this McMartin Preschool here in Manhattan Beach in the 80s. It was a huge thing, and they got caught. But what they were doing is they were taking these kids, these parents, just like any other preschool would go, drop their kids off at this preschool, thinking that it was, their kids are being taken care of, they're being taught, things, and these parents, living in Manhattan Beach are probably had really good jobs, and were probably paying a good amount of money to have their kids cared for during the day. What they were doing with these kids, they were taking them through a trap door in their preschool, going to the house next door. They were putting these kids in a car, driving them to Big Bear,
I remember you told me
to a place in Big Bear, and they were doing all kinds of, only God knows what, satanic rituals and sexual abuse, and there are kids that were victims of this, and still to this day, their parents and their family have been they've basically become runaways. Their parents, their family have sought them out, have found them, and the kids being, you know, basically adults now are saying, no, I don't know you, I don't want anything to do with you. They're saying it's because what these Satanists do is they will split the personalities of these kids through this satanic ritual. And they basically use a fear tactic where, you know, they'll take them out somewhere where they're isolated, they're alone. It's basically an initiation practice. They isolate them, then they cause some type of trauma, and then they with that trauma, they split their personality so that they could act normal, you know, while they're around like their parents, and the parents keep dropping them off because they're so afraid to speak because they've seen, you know, like a rabbit, you know, get its head chopped off right in front of them, and then they tell the kid, you know, like, oh, if you tell anybody, we're going to do this to you and your family. Imagine what that would do to a 4-year-old, you know, or a 2-year-old. It's who their minds aren't even developed yet.
They can't voice it.
Yeah, they cannot voice it. And they split their minds, basically. And this is you could look into this. This is a tactic that's supposedly been used by different governments and stuff.
Sounds like MK Ultra.
MK Ultra, yeah.
That's a real thing.
Basically.
It sounds like when you say the word MK Ultra, it sounds so like, oh, this guy's wearing a tinfoil hat. Right. But it's like, how about you go to the beloved Google and type in MK Ultra, and then you'll see it's like, oh, whoa, this is actually like a thing. Right. It's a thing, people. It's a thing that it's real. And is it pleasant? No. Should you learn about it? A little bit, sure. Just so you know that it's out there, that's all.
One more thing I wanted to bring up, there was this in Manhattan Beach, and one thing that I recently found out, I found very interesting.
You guys send me the link, by the way.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. So that one was in Manhattan Beach. The next one is in Redondo Beach, right?
I'm not surprised at all, man.
You probably know about this one.
Tell me,
maybe there's a place on the pier, right? And this place is it's called the Fun Factory.
Oh my!
Right?
I think it's done now, but yeah.
Yeah. They've sold it, right? The owner sold it.
What a name.
To, you know, I think the city council or something. Someone bought it, anyways. But a Fun Factory, it's basically it is just what it. The name describes it perfectly. It's been there for a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but I mean, my parents were going there when they were kids.
Oh wow!
Right, so it's been there for a very long time over there on the pier, Redondo Pier, and it's an arcade kind of miniature amusement park. They have like one ride there and just a bunch of arcade games, old school arcade games. The owner, his name Steven Shoemaker, right? He was caught with child pornography.
That's
right, and just. You know, I was just like, when I found out about this, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that someone who's into child pornography is allowed to own, right? Is allowed to own a place called the Fun Factory that is for kids. I mean, I don't know why this guy wasn't shut down and this place wasn't shut down as soon as, you know, as they realize this.
You hear about these stories all the time.
Yeah.
Connections and business.
Anyways, it just kind of, got a little bit of a rise out of me because...
No, that definitely makes me queasy. It should, like the Bible says, I think it's I'm taking it, I love to grab this verse and pull it out of context. I think it's in Amos. It's like, hate the evil and love the good.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you feel queasy, you should, and you should turn that feeling into hatred, because the Bible says to hate what? Hate your neighbor? No, it says to hate the evil. What we're talking about is things that are evil, things that should be ashamed of. But it's so real, you know. And here we are in the year 2020, and everything you're talking about is as old as pretty much the Tower of Babel. And with the internet now to be used as like this exploration, like portable library and more, like, you know, the internet's, it's incredible. Like, you can learn all this stuff and you can find truth and find lies, and to learn about the Fun Factory like that, really puts things in perspective, because it's like, you know, even this little bubble that is the South Bay Redondo Beach, I know it's corrupt. Like, I know that on Ruby Street, you know, there's the Masonic Lodge, and Ruby equals 66. It's a very important number to these people. And I was like, oh, how convenient that they put it on Ruby Street, you know, and I just thought, I was just like, and like when that subject, because from Bill Gates to Epstein, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell's in the news right now, right? And I feel like right now, Ghislaine Maxwell is like, what's the word I'm looking for? She's like, it's almost like everything lies on her. It's like there's like a war going on behind the scenes for her.
Everyone's
because,
wondering if she's gonna kill herself before she lets the cat out of the bag.
She knows what's really going on. Probably too much. Yeah. And right now, America is really just on edge, whether people are asleep or awake to it or not. Like, it's so crazy.
Not only America.
No, the world.
Europe. The world.
Latin America. Latin America.
Yeah. Latin America.
No, when I typed in
the UK.
When I typed in on
the
Google,
royal family.
For what it's worth, when I typed in on YouTube right now on my phone, because you were talking about the Wayfair. Believe it or not, I type in Wayfair, and the first thing that pops up recommended besides review is escándalo, which is Spanish for scandal. So it looks like people in America aren't even aware. Because like I type in Wayfair on YouTube, and it's all about mattresses. Yeah. But then the first suggestion is escándalo, which is scandal. Yeah. So people in Latin America, I hear my parents on the phone, they're really talking about it a lot in Latin America, probably because there's less freedom in Latin America, and they're watching America from the outside in. And so they have their own matrix, if you will. We're in our own construct, this American bubble. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. You've left America, so you understand. Like, it's not like this in other places. You know what I mean? I don't care where you go. And, so it's definitely out there, and we're people who are looking for these, like, trails that lead to the door of Satan, pretty much, and we're knocking, saying like, we know it's you, and we're not afraid. These times are scary, but we're not afraid, because we don't have that fear. We're afraid of what God's going to do to America, and to all these people. We're not afraid of what's going to happen to us. We shouldn't be. But we do care. We it's not doom and gloom. We want people to just wake up so they can spread the message and say like, hey, things are worse than you might think, and we need to just share the truth, because we can't stop God from whatever America's going to do at the tippy top, but we can, like, you know, our neighbor. It's just like that. People that we meet in the street. Anyway, what's up?
Well, I mean, God put us here for a reason. Such a time as this, you know. Special time for Christians. Very special time. But yeah, I mean, we can go in all the conspiratorial things on 14 miles north of here, Hollywood and all that, so Luciferianism and all that. Very conspiratorial, but
very real.
I mean, you know, it's very real, and it's just so creepy. I mean, even as we were talking, going way back, I mean, this is as old as time, child sacrifice, even the Jewish people sacrifice their children. I mean, it's all up. You know, but I mean, as far as the perversion stuff, I'm not sure if it was really that. I don't think it was perverted. I don't know in the Bible if it ever went into the perversion. But
it did.
Did it? The children?
Yeah, I mean, David, even David's, I think, was it one of David's sons? Yeah, one of David's sons. He, like, you know, slept with, like,
he had
a bunch of on the rooftop.
He had sex on the rooftop of the palace.
Yeah.
Like, on a bed, so that the whole city could see that he was up there naked.
Yeah.
That's
with David's
daughters
and wives and stuff.
No, he's committing incest. Pretty much, he's like the fattest symbol of what, like, a spoiled child. Like, how evil a spoiled child. It's to basically say, hey, God doesn't have grandchildren. Right. That's pretty much the message of that story. It's like, I don't care who you are. Like, you know, it doesn't matter who your daddy is. Like, you can go to hell, and your daddy is a pastor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh, you know, right, that's God's chosen people, and they knew God better than anybody on the planet at that time.
Yeah, they did.
And yet they still strayed, and that just shows us
Human nature.
how deceitful our hearts are. And
it would have been anybody. It doesn't matter if God chose the Hebrews, if he chose, if he chose
whatever people he chose,
Indians,
exactly,
yeah,
that met him,
it doesn't
basically,
matter.
right? I mean, saw the pillar of fire at night, and then the smoke during the day. I mean, they knew
it wasn't enough for them.
Right? It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough, and it makes you think. Well, hey, God said that we're blessed because we believe and we don't even see those things. You know, what a time to be alive. That they're creating this construct, like, you know, we got cars and planes and iPhones and internet and VR, and it's like, how could you believe in God? It's like we're so far past that now.
Right. That is almost. That is.
It's
kind
like,
of
how can you're
so
so prehistoric. It's like, are you from antiquity? It's like we're here now. God's like, you know, he was fun and all, but we're here now.
Right.
We're with AI.
But who made the ear to hear? Who made the eye to see?
Well, they will just tell you that it's... I'll tell you who made it. Nothing made it.
Right.
It came from nothing. It came from a sponge.
But I guess my point, if I could...
But when
I'm
you
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking to the camera.
If I could digress here.
Please digress.
I apologize, but... I mean, my point was that, I mean, if they knew God so personally at that time, or, you know, at least more tangible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, see and hear and whatnot, they still strayed. But, you know, they still were after that, I don't know, that special love or something, or erotic feeling or whatever. Right? So chasing the dragon like in drugs, same thing. Just can't get enough.
It's like
can't get enough, and so that. I mean, you know, Satan, of course, he's wrapped. Of course, this is all satanic. Period. We know that. But it just shows how, you know, throughout time, it's just it'll never. It just shows how corrupt we are.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of the Bible verse. It's
you know,
what is it? Take heed, something lest ye fall. I'm butchering it.
Yeah. If any man thinks that he stands, let him take heed, lest he fall.
And I think that's Israel in a nutshell, that they just really felt like, well, I mean, we're chosen. We have the truth. God loves us. And I feel like it's like a parent and a child. It's like, you know, like, I'm sure you guys see it with your kids, that they think they got you. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no, you got this backwards, buddy.
Right.
And that's how God probably saw the Jews. Like, it's like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like they you know what I'm trying to say. They took it for granted. Israel is the ultimate example of a spoiled child. Mm-hmm. That they had everything that they could have ever wanted and got. And what did they do with it? They flipped it upside down, you know? They turned the truth of God into a lie.
Right, and that's my point, is because of our pride, we think that we can achieve that.
Yes, and that applies not just to Israel, to all humanity.
Yeah. And then God throughout time has told us, no, you can't achieve it without me. But yet we tried, and so fast forward to Luciferianism.
To now, here we are on our way to And we're back. Part 2 of round 2.
Sorry, equipment malfunction, my bad.
Where were we?
Just to reiterate, how we just can't do, we can do nothing without him. He's the vine, we're the branches. And I never used to believe that. I love this world so much, and I wanted to be such a hot shot and do things, and
no need for God.
Me
You
too.
know what you're saying?
No need for God.
Same,
you
yeah.
know,
That's
just,
the flesh.
Yeah,
That's the flesh.
That's the flesh right there.
That's the flesh in
And
perfect
that's
form.
what we're up against. And and again, just to kind of go back on the powers that be in America and the world right now, whoever they may be, who cares? I really don't care. Of course I do care, because it's messing with everybody. It's messing with me and my kids and my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I care more
church,
about
and
the people that are being affected than the people who are causing
who
it.
don't know, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here. And
We'll never know who they are.
well, and I think maybe we'll save this for next time. And I know before we were recording today, we were kind of talking a little bit more about the numbers.
I love the numbers.
the gematria and everything, and how what the world seems to be coming to a climax, or whatever, however
That's a good way to put it.
to describe it. But that's what we're up against, and now these leaders are making these power plays, and they are corresponding with these numbers, these old Jewish mysticism and other things in astrology. We hear about it all the time. Definitely some, but yeah, everybody knows something's happening. So, that's just what we're trying to drive home. Is there's only one answer. I mean, of course, ultimately, but as far as right now, right here and right now, that's why we're here, because we feel that we can provide some answers. And we don't have all the answers. The Bible has all the answers. So that's all we're doing. We're just trying to, see how everything lines up with the Bible, and it is lining up. Whether it be, Jewish mysticism or modern day astrology, whatever's going on, it's lining up, and God's definitely speaking to us, and that's why we think we can hopefully answer some questions.
There are outlying factors that aren't necessarily detailed or mentioned. Maybe mentioned in a breath. I'd have to find it, but there's so many outlying factors that, whether they like it or know it or not, they're helping fulfill prophecy.
Right.
Like these people who practice gematria and astrology, you're helping fulfill the Bible, because you just need to fulfill your part. Whether they get saved or not, because not everybody can get saved.
Right.
Jesus said that there's a small door, and then there's a big door. So hey, mathematically speaking, most people aren't going.
Well, and that's exactly, and so these power players that think
they're not
such
going.
hot shots.
They know they're not going.
But
they don't want to go
but,
anyway.
But they are the
wanna stay
pawns.
here. They are the ultimate pawn.
Whether they want to admit it or not,
They know
are
they
the
are.
ultimate pawn.
Yeah, they know that.
Maybe
They're a pawn with perks.
most of them,
They're
yeah.
pawn with perks. Because
Yeah.
they like, hey, at least I get to. It's like, yeah, but Satan has your soul. Remember when
Right.
Satan? I think one of the greatest stories in the Bible is the temptation of Jesus Christ. I think it's.
Sure.
I just think it's
Sure.
so like. Everybody knows that, hey, Jesus loves you and Jesus died, but did you know that Jesus and Satan had like a full-on conversation where Satan actually teleported them to like on top, and he, the 3 temptations, interesting number, and the final temptation was what? It was like a offer. It's like, fall down. Lucifer told Jesus Christ, fall down and worship me, and what?
Yeah, it was a deal. He
It
was
was
trying
a
to make
deal.
he was trying to make a deal.
You fall down. And that to me, that deal, when you read the Bible, I mean, who's well versed in the Bible? Satan. So that offer applies to anyone. And when I see someone who's has the riches of the world and they're the kings of the earth, it makes me wonder, well, did you sign up for that deal? Because that's what Satan promised Jesus. Now you can't give anything to Jesus.
Right.
But you see, Satan was tempting Jesus the man, if you will, because there's the humanity of Christ.
Right.
You know?
Brother,
Yes.
if I may.
Please.
He did have it to give. He did have it to give.
Oh.
He took dominion.
Right.
Satan
I
had
know what you're
dominion.
saying.
He took dominion
Sure.
from Adam. Adam
Right.
had dominion at first. Now Satan has it till this day.
But you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, hey, you could
Right.
offer. Hey, Satan could make that offer to me, and it'd be tempting to the flesh.
he can
But
offer.
but to Jesus, it's like you.
Right.
But you can't offer to God, Satan. You can offer to us because
Right.
we're just
Right.
these lowly humans,
Mhm.
while Jesus and Satan are both these higher beings. Of course, Jesus being the highest, the most high.
Right.
Funny how that's what the Bible calls God.
Yeah. Right.
Because there's nothing above him, everything's below him.
Well, exactly right. And they're eating it up. I mean, is there really a contract you can make? You bet there is. When you hear about these stories, and they can't talk about these stories, right? Because
I sold my soul.
that's pretty dangerous.
The devil went down to Georgia.
The devil has power. He's got the dominion. He's got the power. He's on a short leash. We know that.
Yes, and we're not saying he's got the power to
It's
give him
ultimately
too much
up to God.
credit. Yeah, no,
God's providential.
No, I got you. I know
you know.
exactly what you mean. I know.
But he's got serious power, and because we were just talking about not too long ago, but leads into the child pornography and stuff.
Oh,
and
boy.
These creeps that just try to get their more power. It's all about power. And does Satan have power? You better believe it. Does he have power to give? He sure does.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of testimonies and people out there who have been propositioned for their soul. You can find their testimonies online.
Yeah.
They're everywhere now. People have come out, and I have one. I wanted to be, this great, person, and I had an idea of what I wanted out of life, and God allowed me to come to a point where I met the I met the deal maker. I met the one who makes the deals and who propositions for the souls of men, and and I turned it down. I don't want to say I was offered the kingdoms of the world.
You were so.
But at the time,
They sampled
you felt
you.
like it.
They're offering
You felt
Yeah, at the time I did feel like
the
it.
smorgasbord.
Yeah, the proposition was, it basically you become your own god when you follow Satan and when you give up your soul.
That's true Luciferianism.
That's true.
To be a Luciferian doesn't mean, hey, we worship Satan. If anything, no, we worship ourselves because Satan he's the ultimate example of worshiping yourself.
Exactly. And Jesus is the ultimate example for Christians of denying self, sacrificing self for
he sacrificed
the love he sacrificed himself for us. Yeah. So so I can testify to what you're saying.
Stay tuned.
What both of you guys are saying
man.
that there's that is definitely a work of Satan is to
you saw it firsthand. I saw it pretty close up too. I don't know, Brother Alan.
I have one story that I'll get into it next time.
But they're real. I mean, it's
he said the souls of men. That reminded me of this verse in Revelation 18, and this is John talking about the fall of Babylon, which I believe the modern day Babylon that is being spoken here is the United States. And it says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. 1 hour is to say that this Babylon place is going to get wiped out quickly, probably nuclear. And it talks about how, this is a very famous verse, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. And it says right here, and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. So that's what this Babylon country, this nation, that's what they're profiting off of. They're profiting off of wine and oil, find flowers, sheep, horses, and the souls of men. What does that mean?
Well, maybe,
that could be that's human trafficking.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. And I think we kind of agreed to wrap it up here, but for sure we have to get into that next time. Because what's interesting is the camps I've gone to, which we go to soon. I mean, this is one of those fine divides as far as like who's Babylon, but I think Rome.
That makes sense too.
I mean, there's but here's and I remember talking to our dear brother Rodney at church too, and we were talking about how I'm not so well versed in eschatology, which is, for those who don't know, eschatology is study of the end times, biblical end times, the Christian Bible end times. And America, if you really chase it down, a lot of scholars, the top scholars, don't really see America as one of the players. And why is that? So we can get into that next time, but sure. I believe...
there's the beast, there's Babylon, and then there's the whore. And I believe that the whore is the Vatican.
Yeah.
That's the whore that's sitting on the sea, like Sicily. It's just sitting right there in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean, completely owned by the church. It's not Italian. Mm-hmm. It's the Vatican.
Right, it's not
the picture.
So that's the whore that sits on the ocean. That's the whore that sits not only in that ocean. Catholicism sits everywhere in the seas. Mm-hmm. The Philippines, Brazil, Ireland. That's another island. It's everywhere. That's the whore. And who do they use to represent themselves? The Virgin Mary.
Well, the arguments...
That's the whore.
Kind of
the whore in contrast to the bride.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The bride of Christ, which is the church.
Which is the real church. And what do the Catholics call them? Oh, we're the church.
Yeah, right.
The universal church. Notice how universal equals 121, just like Antichrist and Revelation. So it's all just lining up real nicely, even in the numbers. So,
well, we were talking, Brother Rodney and I, about how America not really mentioned too much. Not one of the players, as far as the symbolism, right? Mm-hmm. At least, I don't know, from the understanding that some of the scholars.
I want to say it's the older generation that just doesn't want to believe it. I think the younger generation just way more options like, we're done. While the older generation is like, nah, we're killing commies. It's like, we're not, we love God. It's like, I'm not saying you don't love God. I'm saying that whoever's controlling America doesn't love God.
True.
I'm not, the people, the blood and sweat of this country, I'm sure is hopefully a lot of God-fearing. Is the majority? Of course not, because that would go against the teaching of Christ when he said few go in and many go in that other door. So we know that it's a few, not just in America but in the world.
Well, the point,
especially now more than ever. And your point, I'm sorry.
Well, no. I was just going to say that the point of the ones that believe that America is not in the scene, because they were taken out. But how, before all the chaos and all the destruction, so it's mostly internal. It imploded is kind of the theory behind that.
America imploded. It's imploding right now.
Right, exactly. So you get the two parties.
Yeah, no, there is no Russian-Chinese threat. America will destroy itself.
But then what happens? So
thanks to God.
So it kind of gets into the parallels to where how the church, at times like that, we've been the restrainer, right, against evil. The church.
Whether the world knows it or accepts it or not.
Yeah, you're welcome. But we've pushed back against evil. So what happens when the restrainer is taken out? So America
all hell breaks loose.
Essentially, America, for good or bad, whatever it is, the fact remains we're kind of the police of the world, basically.
No arguing there.
I mean, we're like the last bastion of freedom. And we got all the power. So what's going to happen when the restrainer comes out? I mean, we can get into that.
Well, I mean, I think I think all hell breaks loose. That creates, if anything, I hope this makes sense. I hope you follow. America itself needs to be sacrificed in the name of the Antichrist. Because without America on this earth, there is no freedom. And then enter Antichrist. Hey, I'll reorganize everything again. All right, I got everything under control. We miss America. Those were the good old days. But now this whole world's one new America, and I'm king.
That's right.
Enter Antichrist. I truly believe America won't be a part of that beast system because America sacrificed itself for the beast. Because it's almost like an ironic of fate. It's like God gave us America, and then we just gave it to Satan. It's like, thank you, God. Let's just give it to the devil. Yeah. And that's human nature.
Exactly. The Jews in antiquity gave it away too.
Yes, yes. And
they had it. They were blessed.
Man, they had. What blows my mind is that they saw the Red Sea split, and it wasn't enough. And it's like, well, I mean, we can learn from that. So.
Well, and that's why we're here, right?
We're here to split the Red Sea.
Let's look at the people.
The Red Sea
that are being exposed, right? That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, we're exposing. But yeah, no, this was good. This is good. I like this. This is going somewhere.
Well, let's hope it goes all the way
to the ends of the earth.
The ends of the earth.
And hey, with the internet, with the antenna, this can be in Guam. I mean, you couldn't say that 20 years ago. It's like, this is going to be in Guam. It's like, slow down, buddy.
I'll have my son, pedaling our link and parking lot in the Home Depot.
We'll roll the boat.
Got a Home Depot now.
We'll row the boat to Guam. Oh, wow, they got a Home Depot in Guam.
That was a big deal.
That's really almost scary. That's like going to change the culture. Now there's going to be like lumberjack Guam guys. Just like outside, like, hey, I'll work outside the Home Depot. Oh man, Home Depot in Guam. That sounds like a party.
Okay.
In Guam, the guys are big, right? I'm assuming like people are just big.
No.
There's like
I think
Samoans.
they're small Indian type people.
They're not really,
I thought they were like Samoans. You know, Samoans like you don't want to mess with a
down
Samoan. You don't want to mess with a Samoan.
Now I got to be careful now. You know, if we get
the wife's listening.
If we get popular and they can see me, they're gonna really give me lots of phone calls.
What's a Guam accent? It's like Hawaiian is like, hey brother, why you talking smack about the 808, brother?
It's more like a Latino kind of a thing. It's a mix though. Yeah.
Well, your wife has an accent, right?
Yeah, she's.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But anyway, we should wrap up, huh, fellas? Wrap up till next time. And what? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Until next
Everyone
time.
watching,
All right, until next time.
be blessed.
Thanks for being
We're praying
there.
for you.
Yep, for sure. I'm Rod.
This is Alan.
Josh, God bless you.
God bless you.